Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you are a parent with a kid anywhere between the ages of 3 and 18, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're tackling a universal struggle that, let's be honest, exhausts families all across the globe: school transition anxiety. Whether your little one is stepping into a classroom for the very first time, or your teenager is suddenly dreading the high school hallways, we're going to break down exactly what's happening in their brains and give you the specific tools you need to help them. So let's dive right into this. If your mornings feel like a daily battle of tears, pleading, or those mysterious sudden stomach aches, I just want to validate that experience for you right now. It is exhausting. But more importantly, it is a completely normal reaction to a highly stressful environment. When your child resists going to school, it isn't always about them being stubborn or lazy. Often they are experiencing genuine emotional distress.
All right, here is our roadmap for today. 1. Understanding school anxiety. 2. Ages 3 to 6, separation fears. 3. Tweens, the social shift. 4. Teens, abstract worries. 5. Morning scripts and teachers. And 6. Tackling school refusal. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Understanding school anxiety. More than just jitters.
Okay, so let's start with our first core concept. We really need to reframe this from simple defiance into what it actually is: a biological and psychological response to perceived threats. When your child complains of a stomachache or a headache on a random Tuesday morning, they probably aren't faking it. Those physical symptoms are real and they're anxiety-mediated. Ever notice how they just magically vanish on Saturdays? Yeah, that's a classic sign. It can also look like sleep disruption, irritability, or crying. And to put this into perspective and normalize it for you, an estimated 31.9% of adolescents experience an anxiety disorder. That's almost a third. So you are absolutely not alone in managing this.
Moving to Section 2. Ages 3 to 6, separation fears.
For our youngest age group, the preschoolers and kindergartners, the primary driver of school anxiety isn't really the school itself. It's the primal fear of separation from you. A 5-year-old might literally be sitting there thinking, "Mommy won't come back," or something bad is going to happen to her. Their brains just can't process the fact that separation is temporary. So your action as a parent has to counteract that catastrophic fear with rock-solid predictability. This means establishing a firm, predictable goodbye ritual, and, just as importantly, a predictable reunion ritual at the end of the day so they know the loop closes. Now, before the first day even begins, you can build a mental map for a young child to make the unknown known. Go visit the school early. Role-play the morning routine right in your living room. Read comforting books together, like The Kissing Hand or Llama Llama Mrs. Mama. And hey, don't underestimate the power of a transition item, like a small stuffed animal or a family picture kept in their backpack. It gives them a tangible piece of home when they start feeling scared.
All right, Section 3. Tweens, the social shift. As kids grow into tweens, right around ages 10 to 12, the anxiety landscape completely changes. We shift away from separation fears and dive headfirst into the intense world of social evaluation. In middle school, a tween's fear is entirely focused on fitting in, peer rejection, and honestly just navigating a newly complex environment. Think managing multiple teachers, getting lost, or struggling with locker logistics. As parents, you want to leverage school transitional programs. A lot of schools run orientations, sometimes called smooth move programs, where 5th graders tour the middle school, learn the layout, and meet peer ambassadors. That peer support is incredibly influential for tweens.
Now, I absolutely love this quote from the Child Mind Institute because it highlights such a great parenting strategy. When your tween comes to you and says, "The older kids are scary," don't sugarcoat it by saying, "Oh, everything will be perfect." Instead, validate the reality while gently challenging that catastrophizing. You could say, "It's true, the 8th graders are taller, but do you really think they are all going to be mean?" Then pivot their focus to something positive, like the cool new clubs they can join.
Section 4. Teens, abstract worries. Transitioning into high school, teens develop the capacity for formal, abstract thought, and with that comes entirely new existential worries. Unlike younger kids worried about a specific locker, teens are stressing over hypothetical scenarios. We see intense academic catastrophizing here. If I fail this quiz, I won't get into college and my entire life is over. They feel this massive loss of control, so your role has to shift. You are no longer just organizing their environment, you are actively coaching their coping skills. You must validate their distress without feeding the panic and teach them active, in-the-moment strategies to regulate their nervous systems.
Speaking of in-the-moment strategies, check out these quick stress busters a teen can actually use discreetly right in the classroom. We're talking about things like laughing at yourself, humming softly, Doodling, or systematically tightening and relaxing muscles. These might sound small, but they literally interrupt the anxiety loop and help ground the teen right back in their physical body.
Section 5. Morning scripts and teachers.
So what happens when all that prep fails and you're stuck right in the middle of a high-stakes morning meltdown? Let's open up the crisis toolkit. Seriously, if you write down just one thing from this explainer, let it be this exact script. I think you're feeling nervous, but you do have to go to school. Tell me what you're worried about. This is the gold standard. It perfectly balances empathetic validation, naming their emotion, with a firm, unwavering boundary. You are supportive, yet firm. Let's rapid-fire some critical morning do's and don'ts. Do: keep goodbyes short, predictable, and praise their brave behavior. Don't engage in lengthy negotiations. It only reinforces the anxiety cycle by giving the avoidance behavior a ton of attention. Never, ever sneak away without saying goodbye. That shatters trust. And look, while an occasional break is totally fine, do not allow mental health days to become a pattern, because staying home just makes it twice as hard to go back the very next day.
Once they actually get to school, remember, the teacher is your biggest ally. Collaborate with them, share your child's triggers, ask if they can keep a comfort item inside their desk. A really fantastic strategy for anxious kids in class is location, not answer. Instead of calling on an anxious student for the exact answer, the teacher asks, "Where in the book would we find this answer?" It lowers the stakes immensely while keeping them fully engaged.
Finally, Section 6. Tackling school refusal. We really have to address the most severe presentation of school anxiety, and that is outright school refusal. This is when the anxiety becomes so overwhelming that the child physically cannot bring themselves to attend. But here, we must make a critical distinction. School refusal is not truancy. Truancy is willful skipping, often tied to a lack of anxiety, where the child actually hides their absence from their parents. School refusal is entirely different. It's characterized by severe emotional distress, panic, crying, and the child usually stays home explicitly with the parent's knowledge. Framing this as an anxiety condition rather than a behavioral defiance issue is absolutely crucial for relieving parental guilt and finding the right treatment.
If you are currently facing school refusal, here is your concrete action plan. Step 1. Get a medical check to rule out any physical causes for those stomach aches. Step 2. If they are home, maintain the school morning routine and remove all screens. Being at home should not be more fun than being at school. Step 3. Work with the school on a graduated return, maybe starting with just their favorite class or partial days. And Step 4. Seek professional therapy immediately. Do not just wait for them to grow out of it. If all of that feels overwhelming, I want to reassure you with this number: 60 to 80%. That is the success rate of returning children to school when utilizing cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, especially when the issue is caught and treated early. To put that into perspective, that's huge. There's highly effective help out there.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. The mornings are hard, the tears are heartbreaking, but reframing the struggle really does change everything. Every single time you hold that firm boundary, every time you guide them through a panic rather than letting them just avoid it, ask yourself, by facing the fear today, what kind of resilience are you building for their tomorrow? You aren't just getting them to math class. You are coaching them on how to survive and thrive in a really complex world. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, good luck out there.